Hey guys, happy December. We're so happy to have you back on our podcast from the TC Elementary Counselors. My name is Jasmine, and I'm the school counselor at Morningside.
My name is Laura Norton, and I'm the school counselor at Memorial.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Maya, and I am one of the school counselors at Peters Colony Elementary.
We have quite a few friends that could not make it with us today. The life of a school counselor can be extremely busy, as you can imagine. So you might hear some new voices later, or it might just be us three, but we're happy to have you join us today.
All right. Well, we're going to start out with our guidance lesson spotlight. Our focus this month is on gratitude. And gratitude, we're trying to teach the kids and reinforce with the students that these are when you feel thankful for the things in your life, and not just saying the words thank you, but maybe showing how you're thankful, whether it's, your parents bring in or buy groceries and you bring them in as a sign of appreciation, and really focusing on what we do have, but versus what we don't have. This time of year, a lot of people can be like, I want, I want, I want, and really not take the time to recognize what we do have. And so I know we have conversations with the students of, you got to sleep inside last night. That's a luxury that some kids don't have. And if you came to school, this morning when we recorded this, it was really chilly. If you came to school with a coat and the coat fit, you're doing better than a lot of people, because a lot of people don't have those things. And that those are luxuries to some, and we need to start thinking and be thankful for those.
I love that. That's always a good conversation to have. We also wanted to share a few resources. So in December, we understand that things could get a little tight around the holidays, and we're so fortunate to be in the district that recognizes that. So, some of you may be familiar with the LISD Angel Tree. And so, if your family is receiving that specific assistance this school year, just be on the lookout from your kid's school counselor. They're wrapping up that drive. And so, we'll have information soon about how you can pick up the items from your child's school. So, just make sure you check your email. Hopefully we'll have information to send to you in the next few days, but we're just waiting to see what all the details are so we can get the information out to you. And also around this time, if your student is signed up on Love Packs, they'll get that 8x8 box that has a snack and a breakfast item and a lunch item for every day that we're out for a break. And so you'll get information on your counselor about when you can pick those up from the holidays. And then there was a food blessing, the drive-through opportunity where you can pick up groceries that was supposed to occur on 12/6, but it actually got rescheduled. So if you could not make that opportunity, there's another chance on December the 20th from 10 to 12, and that will happen at Louisville Kilo campus. And so you get to drive through and get some groceries to help you out. So hopefully you're able to take advantage of some of those things and have some support for the holiday.
That goes perfect with our gratitude, being thankful to all those people that help put that in motion. Our angel tree alone is supported by the whole community, and then love for kids, and lots of different people play a part in making sure that our families are taken care of.
Absolutely. And shout out to all you that adopted an angel or donated your time and resources to make the holiday special for our students. We care about them so much, and we know that they want to have a fun and, good holiday. So we appreciate you going above and beyond and making that opportunity available for them.
One of the resources I forgot to add, Jasmine, is the Panther Market serving our colony community. You'd be happy to know that at this point, from the time of opening, which was, I want to say, the second or third week of October until now, serving our families once or twice a week, we have served 62 families. So that is amazing across, again, all elementary schools in the colony, middle schools, and the high school. We have changed our hours for December. We are now open on Thursdays, not Fridays. Originally, it was Thursday and Friday, the first Saturday of the month. But due to high demand, we are cutting back to 1 day per week just so that we make sure that the food lasts a little bit longer. I know sometimes families would come in on Friday and most of the things were gone. So we want to keep it open, available on Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You will drive around the back. We have portables on the back lot. Park by the portables, and someone is always there to open the door for you, welcome you in. Again, open for any family whose student is enrolled in an LIC school on this side of town. Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just want to put that plug in there.
Thank you. Thank you to Pierce Colony for hosting that for our community.
Yes, that's so awesome. A big undertaking, but we appreciate y'all doing it for the community.
So we win, thank you, ladies. At the in the summertime, we usually like to sign up for different trainings that help us become better counselors, right? So that we gather information and we can always share that with you, pass on the knowledge. One of the things that we found this summer, one of the trainings that we went to, there was a particular book that was a topic of conversation. That book is called The Anxious Generation by the author Jonathan Haidt. And so in The Anxious Generation, the author argues that over the last decade, childhood has transformed into what he calls a phone-based childhood. And this shift is a primary driver behind rising rates of anxiety, depression, self-harm, and social withdrawal among the Gen Z and younger children. Now, however, before we begin our conversation about the book, we do want to offer a disclaimer. Again, we were in training this summer and just thought that this book would be great, a great read, and something that we could explore deeper because we found it interesting enough to discuss a few points that we felt might be applicable to our role as professionals and for our families. So in the book, it's split up into different parts. So every part has a chapter. Today, we're going to quickly go over part 1 and 2. And so I thought it'd be fun if we can just kind of have an open discussion about some of the points that Mr. Height brought up and how it relates to our role and also as parents. So let's dive in. One of the first questions I have for you ladies, and something that I had to ponder myself was, how has technology transformed our lives? Because that is his big push, is that we have seen these changes he attributes to phone-based childhood. So when we think about our role here in the schools or as parents, what do you ladies think? How has technology transformed our lives? Pros and cons.
Mhm. I mean, I think one pro definitely is just the ability to connect, throughout COVID, without the impact of technology, schools were shutting down and some people were isolated for months with no connection. And it gives us the ability to connect with other people when physical interaction isn't possible, which we saw that be pretty cool to see some of the kids and see them in their homes and you could see us doing our thing. So definitely, kids move away. That used to be a big, oh, I'm sad my friend's leaving. They can still connect with their friends even when they move across the country. So
Right.
that's definitely one pro I've seen.
I would agree. I think it's in many ways brought us closer together. I think back about, when I was younger, I would have loved to see my grandparents. I saw them once a year, and I feel like we are connected, and it's not a matter of let's wait till Thanksgiving or Christmas to see the family. I mean, you can, you know, again, FaceTime, Skype, or whatnot. It's amazing to do that and see those faces. What about the cons, though? What do y'all think? One particular con I thought about was there we when we were diving into technology, and I think about the flip phone, right? The flip phone was such a big deal. We went from those 1980, car phones, if you were lucky enough to have one, right? Those big monsters that we people would carry or in their car or sometimes in their cases, which is kind of a joke now when we look back. But then we went to the flip phone and we were able to communicate through text. And then all of a sudden here we have the rise of this, other phone that we can send pictures, videos, FaceTime and other things. But I think about where we weren't thinking about the future implications or the long-term effects on children
Yeah.
and how this was going to impact their development, right? Because we were so excited. It's like having that brand new toy. You're so eager just to jump in that we're not necessarily thinking about how is this going to affect us? Are there going to be delays? And unfortunately, I myself have noticed a few delays over the years. I know a few of us, we've been in this for quite some time, 20 plus years, I would say, right, Laura? Jasmine,
Hmm.
almost there. And I know that there was, when I first started, there was, and even so, a big push on motor skill development. And as the years have gone by, especially with pre-K and kinder, I've noticed the struggle. There is a real struggle with just fine motor skills, using the scissors and holding the pencil. I've read a few articles about because they're not using their hands to climb or to pick things up, to play in rock, sands like we did when we were little. We're seeing that a lot of the use of hands at an early age is because they're on their iPad, right? And so that's limiting that fine motor skill development.
Right.
That's something that came to mind immediately. What about you, ladies? What do you think?
I think for me, what I'm seeing the most specifically in the elementary setting is like the access to things that are not developmentally appropriate. Like we know as counselors sometimes you might have a kindergartner and they may have like an older brother and sister, so naturally maybe the music they listen to or the comic books they were picking up were maybe not on their age. But at this point, if a child has a phone or smartphone that's left just open, they're able to search for things, watch things, even just accidentally, not even on purpose, but they're clicking around on something that's meant for kids, and then two clicks later they're on something that's not meant for kids. And
Mm-hmm.
so just their access to things that their brains are just not ready for. So we're having conversations about things pretty early. They're, maybe in the back in the olden days, I feel like sometimes the content or conversations I'm having at elementary level or things I feel like would be more suited for middle school sometimes. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just the access to stuff, games, music, video games, has really come down with our little kids, and their brains are not quite ready for that. And so their access leads to another kid being, having some access to things because they're having conversations about it. But I think that's maybe, for me is the main thing is the world is at their hand, and that's not always a terrible thing, but it depends on what they're trying to what they're trying to explore. I think that can
Mm-hmm.
go off the rails sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's especially even like games that look safe often have things built in that I don't think we even sometimes know. Like those
Hmm.
kids will say, I'm playing Roblox. And they're like, well, it's murder mystery and I'm blowing up a school. And I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
wait, I thought Roblox was we were building things. And so
Right.
even some of these games look innocuous or harmless on the outside, but some of the I don't know, the break-offs or the spin-offs of the games can be a little bit more, and parents just hear Roblox or teachers hear Roblox and think, oh, that's Roblox, Minecraft, whatever it is, but there can be a lot more buried deeper even within a seemingly harmless app or game.
Mm-hmm. He explores the rise in adolescent mental health issues, presenting both, he presents anecdotal and also statistical evidence, where he believes that the use of technology directly ties in with the rise of these issues that we're seeing. He references the teenage girl population a lot. He said, who's on social media more often? It's going to be the girls. And again, he presents a lot of bar graphs. And so if you want to see his statistical defense, that's in the book. But, it did get me thinking about the need for this social media presence with our younger generation, the need to post everything. And by doing so, then we naturally start comparing, right? That could also lead to maybe body image, um, a perception, misconception of, hey, I have to look a certain way, I have to appear a certain way, I have to sound a certain way. And if we don't meet that status quo, then what does that do for our self-confidence? What does that do, for our mental health? Am I feeling anxious because I'm not doing those things that, others are doing because of either limited resources or I'm not there yet? A 9-year-old could be comparing themselves to a 15-year-old.
Mm.
And so then that's very scary because they're not almost provided that time to be a child, but it's almost like it's a race. It's a race to who can get there faster. And it's not always a positive outcome, right?
Right.
So he does reference the girls higher than the boys. I thought that was interesting. What do y'all think?
I wonder if the difference for the girls versus the boys, like I wonder if it's how they're using technology or social media, Are the boys more so using like video games to like be competitive with one another or playing like different things like that, and the girls are maybe using technology to post and like narrate, that type of thing. I wonder if that has anything to do with it, is specifically how the genders are using technology as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a great point. They also talk about, I'm sorry, he mentions let's see here, there is more time online. And what is that doing? Then it's significantly altering our social interactions with one another. He talks about the end of play itself, right? Because instead of having what we would call back then a free range childhood where you're outside and playing all day, now we are staying indoors. Now we are afraid to go outside because of, simple things like allergies, or what if someone's going, kidnaps me, or what if I see my bully on the playground? And what we've created are almost like this sheltering our children from being able to problem solve on their own. In one of the podcasts I was listening to, he had a guest speaker, and they were referencing this explore, trial, and fail concept, where we are not allowing them again to master problem solving skills. For example, on the playground, they reference, before we got together, we'd be like, okay, what are we going to play? And then it would be a matter of problem solving. Who's going to play? Are we
Mhm.
going to take turns together? And now it's not that. Instead, what do they do after school? Most of the time, they go home and they're on Roblox or they're on their video games, where it's not that face-to-face interaction anymore. It's behind the screen. And again, he goes back to, it is significantly impacting our social um, relationships with one another,
Hmm.
social interactions.
I think I would even like to add, and you guys, our audience, I did want to introduce, we have one of our counselors pop on, Amber Olson, who's the counselor at Etheridge. Amber, we did let parents know, our listeners know, that we lead very busy lives, so people could be popping in, when they got an opportunity. So we're welcoming you to the conversation.
Hi, gals.
Um, hey there.
Hi.
But I also wanted to add, like, just my personal experience to like this the phone based, excuse me, y'all. The phone based childhood is, I feel like our kids are largely overscheduled as well. I know personally in my household, my kids have their activities, and when I have three kids in a car fussing and fighting, it was a lot easier to give them a phone or a tablet as we're going to gymnastics, to soccer, to dance, to this, and I'm dropping and picking. So even in that circumstance, my kids didn't always have the opportunity to play outside because we're always on the way to something, to a practice, a rehearsal, or something like that. And while they were moving around, I must admit, I was putting technology in their hands and a snack just to kind of save, my own sanity, as we're transitioning to one thing to the next. So, um, I'm curious to know, is that part of it too? Yes, the access to the phones, the loss of the play dates and playing outside unsupervised, but our kids being scheduled where they spend a lot of time in the car in the afternoon as well, going to their various activities.
Hmm. You know, the last one of the other points that I loved was he did say, um, what, speaking of problem solving as adults, we try our best to teach them problem solving skills here at school and strategies and again conflict resolution, which is to essential to the development of children. But he also explores the importance of critical, unsupervised, risky play. So I'm looking at that thinking, okay, what does that mean? Again, allowing them to participate in something where they are bound to make a mistake.
Mhm.
And we immediately think of sports, right? I think about those physical accidents. And I think about how many of us had broken bones when we were little. And it's rare when we see that, at least for me here at the school. I'm like, oh, you broke a bone. It is such a huge deal. I hate to say it, but they love it in a way because everyone's signing their cast. And I remember when I was in school, like everybody broke a bone, right? If you weren't breaking a bone, you weren't playing. And it reminded me of that, and I think, it's okay. It's okay to offer, I guess, offer those times where they can be outside, involved in that risky play. We recently took our kids to, one of these local places, and they had a rock climbing wall, and my one of my kids was eager. He said, I'm climbing up that wall. And of course, my mama heart was like, oh, is this really safe? And how about that harness? Is it on tight enough? And so then I have to check myself and say, hey, I'm letting my anxiety take over the situation. And I'm not allowing him, or in my mind, I'm trying to prevent him from taking on that risky behavior. Obviously, it turned out great. And in the end, he feels confident. He feels, proud of himself, which is what we want to instill in our children. And I thought that was an important piece. We do need to allow them to take those risks.
And it's funny you say that because I think sometimes we guard so much from the physical world, we don't want to get hurt. We don't want them to interact with someone they shouldn't when we just don't realize how much the digital world we're exposing to can do damage as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's very true. It's like it's a trade-off almost, you know.
Mhm.
I think the best thing is trying to find a healthy balance, but um, I understand that that's easier said than done. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Trying to figure out a way that kind of hits all those things that are important in our students in our kids' childhood. So
Mhm. Well, these were only the first couple of chapters or parts of the book. I just want to leave you with one last thought. Something that we can think about is, our anxieties getting in the way or interfering with allowing them to play and explore. And as an adult, I have to remember that I am the model for my child, those calming down strategies, those risk-taking behaviors. I am the model, and I want them to learn that risky behavior is okay, that, practicing our calm down strategies is okay. So taking those opportunities as a parent, also as an educator, to give them those, what are they, educational or teacher moments. We call them teacher moments, but teaching moments, right? For them to learn that on their own, again, in a safe environment. And that's what we hope to do here at school as professional school counselors is create a safe environment where they feel confident and they feel like they can, conquer the world. Again, knowing that they're going to fail and that is okay. It is okay to make mistakes.
mhm.
Anything else, ladies? I know next time we meet, we'll share a little bit more about the author and his book. And again, as a disclaimer, we're not saying that this is what we fully believe. This is the rise of, our mental health issues. This is just something we thought was interesting and thought we could share with you, a few tidbits.
Yeah, I love these conversations, and as we kind of move deeper in the book, we hope that we can come up with some other things we feel like would be helpful to y'all. So we're gonna wrap up just by talking to all of our parents of fifth graders. So very soon, your kids will start getting ready for middle school. It seems like that's so quick, especially if they've been somewhere since kindergarten and now we're here preparing for the next step. So in January, we will, as counselors, have a planned visit to their middle school. So every elementary campus has a middle school that they are zoned to. Um, there are some opportunities that you may need to transfer your kid for some reason, and all that transfer information can be found on nlisd.net. Right now we have the information for Griffin Middle School, which a lot of our kids are zoned for. So on January 12th, we are going to be taking our fifth graders to tour Griffin and hear from their administrators and counselors and look around the school, and then that's when registration will open for them. And so that means they are choosing their classes for sixth grade. So we're going to start having those conversations about what fine arts do you want to do? Is it going to be band or orchestra or choir? What other do you want to do, pre-athletics or PE? Are you thinking about honors classes? Those type of things. So those conversations are coming up pretty quickly. There will be also at Griffin be a parent night at 6 p.m. on January the 12th that you guys can go and get some good information. We want to let you guys know that we work very closely with our middle school counterparts. So you're welcome to reach out to us or reach out to your kids' intended middle school counselor. But we're all on the same page and here to help you and your fifth graders have a easy transition as they're preparing for middle school. So we don't yet have any specific information about Lakeview, but when that comes out, the counselors, your kid's counselor will make sure to contact you and make sure you're up to date.
Jasmine, can I add a quick memorial also is zoned to Arbor Creek, and
Oh,
that is
that's
going to
right.
be, that visit is January 16th. So we have that additional one over here. But
That's right.
so
That's right.
those are the only three that will be visited, Lakeview, Griffin, and Arbor Creek.
Okay. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions about the process, I know that we try to answer the questions the kids have, and we try to make sure that they're being pretty independent about their selections. What I like to tell the kids, you're the one that's going to be sitting in band, so make sure that you want to choose your activity because you want to do it, not because a friend wants to do it or big brother or someone did it. Get ready to make these decisions on your own. And even in sixth grade, some of the choices that they're met or make are leading into their high school career. So, we like to have a very open and honest conversations to get them on the path that we feel like that will help them be the most successful. So we are looking forward to that. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you so much. And if you guys need anything, just contact your child school counselor. Y'all have a great holiday.
Thank y'all. Bye.